Hello, everyone. I'm Mike DeSteffens in the Creativity and Innovation class. For my Innovative Leader presentation, I chose Neil Blumenthal. Neil Blumenthal is a co-founder and co-CEO of Warby Parker, and Warby Parker is an eyeglass retail distributor based out of New York City. And I recently, during my research, I watched a documentary that featured him, and what his biggest point was that frustration stems from passion, passion stems ideas for creativity and innovation. And with this being said, Neil was very frustrated in the eyeglass industry. He went to one of the retail distributors years before he got into the eyeglass industry, and he was looking to purchase some prescription eyeglasses for personal use, reading books or just everyday sight improvement. And so he goes into this store and he's talking to one of the clerks, and the clerk is telling him, try them on, make sure you like them. And so he tries them on. He feels confident because a lot of times whenever people wear eyeglasses, they feel like they don't look very good and they look dorky. But Neil did not think this at all. So he was getting ready to check out, and he takes the eyeglasses up to the front, getting ready to ask for the pricing and ring it up. And he finds out that the eyeglasses that he was getting ready to purchase, the frames were like $300, and the lenses were another $100 on top of that. So coming for around $400 without taxes. And so he was like, well, that's completely unacceptable. I'm not going to pay $400 for a pair of glasses that are just going to improve my vision. Like, I don't think that's worth that much money. So this is what really fueled him and motivated him to get into this sector in the market. He wanted to build a business model that would put the price of the quality of eyewear first, but also promoting a fashion brand that offered value and service with a social mission. And with this social mission, what that was all about is they wanted to do a buy one, give one. And what that meant is that for every eyeglass that was purchased, they would donate another eyewear to someone that was in need. And this is pretty cool. Ever since they started up in February of 2010, they've sold over 500,000 eyeglasses, whether that's sunglasses or eyeglasses, prescription glasses, whatever that may be. So with that being said, that they've donated over 500,000 eyeglasses to people in need, whether that's domestically or internationally. And I think that's just remarkable because they're not only, focusing on their revenues, but they want to help others, which I think that's really important, especially for a business whenever you're focusing on culture and the foundation and the structure of the business, where you're giving back to those customers, and not even the customers, but people who they don't even know that they want to help, which I think that's really cool. And I think also Tom's, the footwear that it kind of fits like a sock, and that's kind of like a canvas material. I think they also do that as well. But I think that's the only company that I know of, at least, that does the buy one, give one. So during the startup of the company, Neil Blumenthal, he wanted to focus. They had very little resources that they had, whether that's, money or people working for them. So they were on a tight schedule, but they wanted to focus on maximizing their resources. So one of the things that they did is they implemented a Warby Parker class trip. And what this is basically a yellow school bus, of all things. And they wanted to take this to the forefront of the customers. Granted, they are based out of New York City, but they would travel all over the eastern coast, sometimes even, central or even western towards Cali. And what they would do is they renovated the school bus, and they would sell their products out of this school bus. So they would show up to, Hickory, North Carolina, for instance, and sell these products that they were producing. And what this did for them is it gave them a competitive advantage against their competition, because they were able to get out and build relationships with these consumers and local businesses of the city that got out their name. And in reality, if you think about it, the customer should be your number one advertising tool, because if they're your number one advertising tool, then the word of mouth is so powerful. And if I go buy a product and I think that it's really good and that the customer service was great, I want to go tell one of my friends and say, Warby Parker was awesome, and I think you should go buy some of your eyeglasses if you need them for prescription use, or sunglasses for the beach whenever you go. So I think that was really cool for them to think of Warby Parker class trip and taking a school bus to the forefront of customers and selling their products out of it. Another thing that Neil Blumenthal talked about was the breakdown in decision making. What he thought was really important for their company to be successful was he needed simplistic views. He wanted to focus on baby steps instead of leaps to help reduce risk for the company. And then he also wanted to recognize the major moments of the organization. And with simplicity, he wanted it, for the grand scheme of things, he wanted it to work like a puzzle. You have a bunch of little pieces that all fit together for the success of the organization like a puzzle. And with my personal experience, I work in athletics. I'm a football coach, and then I also work in sports marketing as a graduate assistant. And in athletics, you have so many different pieces to be successful. And if those pieces don't fit, then the athletics department is not going to be successful. And you have the athletic director, you have the head coaches, you have the assistants, you have the team behind the teams, whether that's, with us, it's the PEF Bears Club. And if any of those are out of line, then that could cause the organization or the athletic department that I'm in to not be successful. And with baby steps instead of leaps, I think that's pretty self-explanatory. A lot of startup companies, they want to be successful right away. But what they tend to not realize is with creativity and innovation, you can only do so much, because if you try and push so much innovation at first, then you're going to fail, because you can't overuse your innovative. You can't put so much money into this sector and in the market where you're not going to see any return. And so this is what Blumenthal and his founders from Warby Parker did. In one of the quotes, I don't want to get this wrong, but it says, "Creativity wins, and we must be remarkable as treating the customer experience with entertainment." And as a creative, we have a distinctive advantage, how we can adapt other skill sets to take advantage of our creative thinking past. And what I think about this is just unknown territory. How many times, especially with this class, I think we can all relate to is stepping into unknown territory. And for instance, you talk about the Wreck-It Journal. And the Wreck-It Journal, it's telling us to do things that we're not used to, whether it's, smearing food on a book, or, and then having that food sit there while you're trying to finish the Wreck-It Journal, and you're stepping out of your comfort zone and getting into unknown territory where, in other times, you're probably not going to do that on a day-to-day basis. But what that does for us is that, it grows us as an individual, and it helps us focus for the future development as a person. And I think that's super important, thinking whether that's Warby Parker and how they've become so successful, as Neil Blumenthal was so creative and innovative with his other founders, and making this business model successful. And really the last thing that I want to point out is, with creativity, what many people fear is being judged and ridiculed. And Blumenthal and Warby Parker stepped out of their comfort zones to develop a business strategy that would forever change the eyeglass industry. And, whenever you think about it, it's just how, and with any organization, you're going to have to be creative, and you're going to have to be innovative if you want to be successful. But really, Neil Blumenthal really did forever change the eyeglass industry.